As piano players, we often find some of the best ideas by looking beyond the piano and taking inspiration from other instruments. In this video, I'm going to show you a beautiful rolling piano accompaniment that adds a whole new level of movement and energy to your chords. But here's the twist. We're going to play a little bit more like a guitarist on the piano. Curious? Let's dive in. To really get the most out of this lesson, don't forget to grab your free PDF lesson book. It's got the sheet music and notation for every single step in the video. The link is in the video description. It's completely free. What I'm going to show you today is going to be really useful if you're someone who often finds themselves playing what we call block chords, okay? Block chords sound like this. In other words, both our hands are going down at the same point, left and right hand together, waiting for the next chord to come so we can move our hands. It's kind of fine, it works, and there are occasions where you might want to play like that. But sometimes it can be useful to generate a bit of a kind of rippling, rolling effect that's got a kind of forward momentum to it, a forward motion, something that's kind of propelling the music forward. Now, I got this idea from guitarists, and guitarists have lots of different ways of playing chords. They can maybe strum the chord, which is kind of similar to us playing block. Here's an example of a guitarist strumming. That's very simple to this. The block version of what we're playing. Everything's kind of happening together. There's a little bit more rhythm going on, but it's kind of similar. Now listen to this, which is the guitarist fingerpicking. That same chord sequence, but playing the notes one by one. It's beautiful, isn't it? It just creates this kind of wonderful rolling sound world where everything just seems to flow so nicely. I've got a little keyboard sound up here, right? A guitar sound. I'm not going to be able to do it anywhere near as good as that recording you just heard, but... Now I've put together a bit of a system for how you do this, how you go from having those block chords to how you go to having a beautiful, rippling, rolling piano accompaniment that just kind of takes the music on a bit of a journey. So the first step is to learn the chord sequence. Now we're going to do this in the key of D. There's our D major scale. As always, it's really useful to get the scale of the home key down, super important. And D major has two sharps. It's got an F sharp and a C sharp. So yeah, just make sure you've got that really secure. And our chord sequence is going to have a descending bass line. In other words, the bass line is going to move in a downwards direction. We're going to begin there on chord 1, D major. That's the shape I'm using. And from there, I'm going to move to there, which is A over C sharp in our left hand in the bass. There's the shape. So we're going from D to A over C sharp. We're then going to go to flat 7 in the key. 7 would normally be C sharp in the key of D, but we're flattening it, okay? Flat 7, so it becomes a C natural. There it is. And from there, we're going to go to a regular G chord, which is chord 4 in the key. So I'll just show you those first 4 moves, okay? Here they are. D, A over C sharp, C, and then to G. And we're going to extend this chord progression out, okay? We're not just going to do 2 bars, we're going to do 4 bars, okay? That's going to be our sequence. So we're then going to go to a D over F sharp, which is there, okay? I've got the F sharp in my left hand, and then this D major shape in my right hand. And then we're going to go to an interesting chord. Beautiful sound, this. One of my favorite places to go in a key. I've got my 5 chord in D in my right hand, which is an A, and then I've got the 6 of D in my left hand in the bass, which is a B. So it's actually it's a type of slash chord, okay? We've got an A in our right hand and a B in our left hand. And from there, we're going to go to a C. Again, we're going to go back to that flat 7. Let me play you the whole sequence, just so you can kind of get it in context and get a bit of a kind of sound world for what this sequence sounds like. There it is, I'll do it once more for you. Here we go. There it is. Now there's one more step we need to go through before we can start playing about with those finger picking patterns, which I'm going to show you in a second. We need to add another note in our right hand. At the moment, we're just playing 3 notes. We're just playing a triad in our right hand. So on that first chord on that D, I've just got an A, a D, and an F sharp. But the thing is, music, particularly when we're in a 4/4 time signature, it divides itself into 4. So all of those beats, 1 E-ander, 2 E-ander, 3 E-ander, 4 E-ander, they can all be divided into 4. So it's quite handy to have a shape you can play in your right hand that has 4 notes in it, because otherwise if you're going to be arpeggiating them, you're going to have to repeat one of them. But if you've got 4 notes to choose from, it means that you're not really having to repeat within the same beat. What we're going to do something called boxing in the triad. And all that means is we double the note that's at the bottom of our triad, we double it at the top. So let's have a look at the first one, right? There's our D major triad. And what I need to do is I need to have this note, as well as being at the bottom, it also needs to be at the top. So our new shape is going to be this. That's our boxed in triad. We've got the triad there, and I've kind of boxed it in. I mean, it's just a name I came up with, but I think it kind of makes sense. So let's do this for every chord in the sequence, right? So we start there. We're then going to go to A over C sharp. Remember, we've got that descending bass line. So our left hand's going to move down. And all that's going to happen is these 2 notes in the middle are going to go there. But the A remains the same. We then go there, okay? You can see our little finger and our thumb has moved down to this G. We've got the C and the E in the middle. And from there, we go to G, which is there. So let me just show you those 4 moves again. And for the last 2 bars, we're going to go to D over F sharp, which is there. It was originally just that, but now we've boxed in the triad again. Then we go to A over B, which is there. That boxed in shape, and then we go to the flat 7, the C chord. I'll play it all the way through, okay? Follow along, here we go. Now I've written all of that out for you in the downloadable PDF. The link for that is in the video description. It's all in there for you to follow along and really get it under your fingers at home. But now is the time to kind of add that finger picking pattern, okay? So we're going to try and add something that's got that ripple rolling effect in our right hand. Our left hand is going to stay pretty much the same. It's just our right hand that's going to be doing most of the kind of heavy lifting here. So this is what the shape looks like. I'll just play it for you first, and then I'll explain what's going on. Do you see that? It just creates such a nice effect. Listen again, and I'll explain what's going on. It's beautiful, right? So there's my boxed in triad. You can see I'm starting on the 3rd note up, okay? So in this case, on the D chord, I'm starting on this F sharp right here. I'm then playing the bottom 2 notes, ascending. There, so that's my first move. And then I play the top note. So I'm going, do you see that? And then where do I go to? Well, my next boxed in shape is here, and I'm going to go again to the note that's in that position, the 3rd one up. Do you see that? Here it is. Which is the E on this A over C sharp. And just in case some of you were wondering, yes, I am actually pushing one of the notes here. I'm doing what we call a rhythmic push. I'm playing it slightly earlier. If you look, push. I'm kind of anticipating the next chord. So when I'm moving from that D to A over C sharp, I'm anticipating that E. I'm pushing that E early. Check it out. There it is. Do you see that? And I'm doing that on all of the chords in the sequence. I then go to the C chord and do exactly the same thing again. There's my boxed in triad. Here's the arpeggiation, the kind of finger picked pattern. And I go to the G chord, which is there. and I play the third one up again. Let me just show you those 3 moves, okay? It's quite a lot to take in. Remember, it's all written out in that PDF for you. And I'm gonna add in one little bit, okay? The end of the bar at the moment feels a little bit kind of empty. Listen. It's kind of empty. It's almost needs to be filled with something. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna run up the notes in that boxed in triad. Watch this. Here. There it is. Same again. There we go. Do you see how that just creates such a really nice kind of pattern for us to play continually in our right hand? If I extend it out to the next 2 bars, it's going to look like this. And we're actually going to leave that last bar blank, okay? We're going to come back to that a little bit later on and try and get something creative in that. I'm going to play it through now with the backing track. This backing track is included with that PDF download, okay? So you can practice all this stuff at home. It's quite a lot to take in, so you might want to really sit down and just try this out. Okay, here it is with the backing track. And we're going to just hold that there. Let's go once more. Here we go. Okay, this is where the fun really begins, right? We're now going to think, how can we make this even more guitar-y? How can we make it sound even more like a guitar, even more idiomatic in the style of a guitar? So what we're going to do, we're going to use this little kind of inflection that I hear all the time in guitar music. It sounds like this. Do you recognize that? You must have heard that in so many songs. Where that first note, it just kind of gets moved up. It's like a little boom boom. I think it's called a hammer-on. And if there are any guitarists watching this channel, drop a comment below, let me know. Put a proper description in there so we've got it and like people can check it out. But I know it from the sound of listening to lots of this style of music. Listen. It's just a way of adding a little bit of movement, a little bit of character to the music. I love doing this. I do this all the time in my playing. So we're now going to add a little hammer-on, I think it's called, on some of the chords in our sequence. So we're going to do it on that first chord. Let me go back to the piano sound. So yeah, we're going to do it on that first chord. And what I'm doing here is I'm moving from the second up to the third. Okay, this is a really common thing to do on the piano. I'm moving up from the E, which is the second of the D chord. We're on a D chord. I'm moving up from the second, which is an E, to an F sharp, which is the third. And then we play the pattern as normal. Now let's do the same thing on this C chord, which is coming next, okay, the flat 7. See that? It's so nice. Let me play the first 2 bars now so you can hear it in context. See what I mean about this rolling accompaniment? It just keeps the music going and it just sounds so musical and so flowing. I love it. Let's do it on the next 2 chords as well. So yeah, that's D over F sharp. And again, I'm just rolling that E up to the F sharp, the second up to the third. And then our last chord is that C chord. And I think because we're just going to hold that chord, let's just do a little smudge, okay? Watch. You see what I did there? Rather than doing the arpeggio, I just moved the second of the C chord, the D, up to the third, which is the E. So those last 2 bars, there it is. Now I'm playing this quite low down on the piano because I like that sound, but it works anywhere on the piano. Check it out higher up. So if you wanted to make a really kind of beautiful mood at the beginning of a song and have something high up, that just kind of leads into the verse. This will be a great technique to use through your sequence. I wonder what it sounds like up an octave again. Quite pretty. Yeah, I really like that. Now, earlier on, I said we were going to get creative with that last bar. This is taking it a step further again. On this channel, we never want to sound like we're on a loop. We never want to be playing the same thing consistently through a sequence. We want to have just a little few places that we can spice it up, add some extra melodies, some extra rhythms, just to break it away from sounding formulaic. What we're going to do, we're going to improvise in that last bar on that flat 7. So once I've played that C chord, I'm going to improvise with, let's say, 3 notes, okay? I'm going to improvise with a D, a G, and an A. Now you might be thinking, those are really funny choices to use on a C chord. Think about the key we're in. We're in the key of D, and D is note 1, it's the home of the key, okay? The overall key we're in is D, and then we've got G, which is the 4th of the key of D, and then we've got A, which is the 5th of the key of D. So they're actually really strong choices because they kind of pull us back to the home. We go back there, back to D. I don't have to just play them like that. I can kind of just play about. There's no right or wrong to this, okay? It's just a case of having a go, experimenting, not being afraid to make mistakes, all of that stuff I always talk about here on the channel you're probably sick of. So let's just have a go, right? Just to get it kind of familiar, play the chord, and then just improvise. Again, 3, 4. You don't even have to make it that busy. It could just be that. It doesn't have to be complicated. You could even just run up the notes like that. Let's give it a go with the backing track. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play all of those little hammer-on sounds on each of the chords that we spoke about. And then in that last bar, I'm going to improvise with those notes. There's a lot going on. Grab that PDF download. It's all written out for you in there, so you can really have a go at working through this at your own pace, step by step. Let's give it a go. Improvise. Now there's a lot going on here, but you can really begin to see where you can take this. This finger-picking, flowing, rolling piano accompaniment pattern just works so well on these ballads, these slower songs. So do have a go at getting this into your playing. Download the PDF, grab the backing track, try it out, and drop a comment below and let me know how you get on. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ding the bell. And if you enjoyed this video, I think you're gonna love this video up here. Go give that video a click, and I'll see you over there.